Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Chris, and welcome to ManicManiac Recaps and Predictions NFL Edition Season 2, or the 2015 season, rather, because I'll probably be doing a lot of these. Welcome, everyone, back to NFL Predictions, and I'm very happy to be back. This was one of my favorite things to do last year. Or earlier this year, actually, because that was 2015 too. But I did the playoff predictions. I even did schedule predictions around April, and it's fun trying to see if you can get some. You can predict the unpredictable NFL essentially, and it's fun to try to figure things out. I did pretty well in the playoffs. On the videos, I was perfect, but when I didn't do the wild card round, and I got one wrong. I said the Steelers were going over the Ravens, and that didn't happen. But really, really awesome, because I love football. I've been following it all summer, especially if anyone follows me on Twitter. It's practically all I talk about. I follow a lot of players. I follow all the teams to see what's happening, and who's sucking, and who's doing amazing, and who's got to have the best offense this season, who's got to have the best defense this season, which players are really going to stand out. Is there going to be trades? Is there going to be some people that get released? And where will they end up signing? Like, it's everything about the NFL, and it's crazy off-season or, like, off-the-field crazy things that are happening. It's really... It's awesome, and it's fun, and I love the actual football games themselves, and there's nothing better to me. I really, I love other sports, but nothing beats the NFL, personally. So, I started this series because, I don't know, I thought it'd be fun to try to predict and see how well I would do, and honestly, I know that I'm not going to have the luck that I did last during the playoffs, but I might as well give it a shot, right? Again, this league is so unpredictable, you never know what could happen. Teams that you think would do well end up ending the season will lose a record. Teams you didn't think were going to actually step up to the plate end up winning their division. It's amazing, and it's fun, and it's intense, and it all happens within 17 weeks. And then, of course, multiple weeks to follow with the playoffs, and then the Super Bowl. This is a golden season, by the way, because it is Super Bowl 50. It's their 50th season, or 50th season with the Super Bowl. I don't know what number season it is, but it is going to be a very awesome year, for sure. So, what I'm going to do this episode, I'm going to do weekly predictions, which is something I'll do every week. But because this is the first episode, I thought I'd give my Super Bowl predictions, and also a playoff picture prediction, which I worked on last night, and it took me a while because I actually went through every single matchup this season. I went through all 256 something games, whatever the hell the amount is. Crazy amount of games. I went through every single one and predicted the winner for every single one, which will change over the course of the season, of course, but I went with the fact that, let's say there's no roster changes, there's no trades, there's no injuries, which is not gonna fucking happen, but let's say we got from start to finish and everything stays the same, what would be the end result? And I was really surprised with how it all ended, because I didn't realize I had so many wins for some teams, and I didn't realize how many losses I gave a team either. It was interesting, and I'm surprised about my result, about the playoff picture. But from there, I was able to think of rational Super Bowl ideas. And you'll see those at the end of this episode, as well as bold predictions that are not completely ridiculous to think, but just... if they do happen, I'll give myself a big pat on the back compared to all these other predictions. So, alright, let's get into this. And I'm going to try to do this fast as I can, but I do a lot of analysis, a lot of, okay, which side is better than the other? What does this team have that's great? Which what does this team have that's greater than that team, and like I do really in-depth analysis, but I'm gonna try to be quick about it. So we're gonna start off with kickoff tomorrow. Oh, whoops, that spoils a little bit. The NFL kickoff is tomorrow night, and I'm so excited about it. It's the day before my birthday, yeah. And it's really gonna be awesome to watch these two juggernauts, these two AFC juggernauts face against each other. I was thinking about the injuries that the Patriots have, and then the suspensions that the Steelers have, and who will miss who more. And it really came down to how well each team will do defensively, and then how the teams would be compensating for their losses, and of course, who's the better quarterback, Roethlisberger or Brady? Personally, I think Brady, but Roethlisberger had an amazing year last year, so who knows? It took me a while to figure it out, and I decided that it would probably make the most sense if the Patriots won their kickoff. And I know this is a little bit of this is a big deal, obviously, but I have to look at it like this. Le'Veon Bell was a huge reason why the Steelers did so well last year. Martavius Bryant is a very reliable wide receiver, and without him, yes, you have Antonio Brown, but can you really trust that other wide receiver? And which I can't think of who the hell the other wide receiver is right now. Completely forgot. And the Patriots, they have Gronk still. Gronk you can depend on. Of course, possibly losing Edelman will be bad, and then definitely you've lost LaFell, and that really sucks. But Danny Amendola, don't worry about him. I think he might do well this year. And I think the Patriots' offense is a little bit stronger because the Steelers lost Marcus Pouncey. The defense for the Patriots, especially like the front seven, is a little bit stronger right now than the Steelers. But the Steelers, I think, will grow into it as the season goes along. And then I even think the secondary is a little bit better for the Patriots than the Steelers right now, because Steelers just took two big hits this past offseason with two retirees in Palomalu and Taylor. So I don't know. The Patriots, I think, is the better choice for the kickoff, but we'll see what happens. I don't know who I'm rooting for. I think I'm gonna root for the Patriots just because they've been seen as such underdogs coming into this because of the fact of all the Deflategate scandal, which is crazy to think that a Super Bowl champion would be the underdogs, but just because of all this chaos that happened during the offseason, it's good to. It will be interesting to see if the Patriots are still able to handle or are able to come back from all that drama and be able to still perform. So, anyways, let's move on to Packers against the Bears. That will be our first Sunday matchup. And this is such an obvious one to me. I'm just going to go ahead and right out say it's going to be the Green Bay Packers that win. The Chicago Bears have struggled in so many ways. The quarterback, Jay Cutler, a lot of people say, like, oh no, this will be a good season for him. He has had so many issues nonstop. You can't not look at that. Like, he has just not done well. And you look at the wide receivers that the Bears have, and yeah, that's great. And you look at the running back, Matt Forte, and yeah, that's great. But having Jay Cutler as a quarterback on your team, you can't depend on him. And the great thing about John Fox was that he was able to bring Tim Tebow to the playoffs. Which Tim Tebow, let's face it, he's good, but he ain't great. But I will make the argument, and this might be a little crazy, but I actually think that Tim Tebow is a little bit of a better quarterback than Jay Cutler, and my friend Gokum says the same thing because he's a Chicago Bears fan. That's just me personally. I think that maybe the Bears should consider signing Tim Tebow. He's out of the job right now. Let's bring him in. And then our defense has a million questions. Like, again, yes, it's John Fox. He's a great coach, and I think he will have a lot of success in Chicago, but just not now. I don't think he will now. Maybe next year, maybe the following year, but not now. The roster has so little talent that it's gonna be a tough year for the Bears. Look at the Packers: Aaron Rodgers, Randall Cobb, Eddie Lacy, some great other wide receivers that I think will easily be able to replace Jordy Nelson. And Jordy Nelson, he's one of the best wide receivers. He's maybe even the best wide receiver in the league, and it's a huge loss for them. But with someone like Aaron Rodgers at the helm, there's no way that you can lose at least a ton of games with him. He's a great quarterback. He can throw to an old man, and that old man will be able to catch it and get a touchdown, so it is very easy for Aaron Rodgers to succeed in the league, and I don't see losing Jordy Nelson as a horrible thing. Their offensive line is pretty decent. Well, it's actually great. I don't know why I'm saying that. And the defense is great. Their defense is so good, and people are like, oh no, their defense is not going to be that great this year. You got Julius Peppers, you got Clinton Dix, who had an amazing rookie year. No way. Green Bay Packers are going to kick ass this year. No doubt about it. So, that's my choice. Chiefs at Texans. You look at the quarterback situation, and you're like, okay, Alex Smith is a little bit better. I think Brian Hoyer is definitely underrated, maybe. I think that Brian Hoyer can do a lot for the Houston Texans. He's not the best quarterback out there, obviously. He's not amazing, but I think he's the answer for this year, at least. And people say that maybe Ryan Mallett might take over at some point, but I say give Brian Hoyer a chance. I think that he will prove a lot of people wrong. I mean, he did well in Cleveland for a while, and then he ended up started to rack up those losses, but he had a decent time in Cleveland, so I think he'll have a good time in Houston as well. But you look at the loss of Arian Foster, that sucks. You look at the loss of Andre Johnson, that sucks. And you look at that offensive line, and they suck. So it's going to be really rough for Texans offensively, where Kansas City's far superior on that front. And then the Kansas City Chiefs defense compared to the Houston Texans defense, they're both amazing. Let's face it, they are both absolutely insane, and I just, for some reason, when it comes down to these really tough matchups, I would actually have to give this one to the Texans, just because of how great their defense could be, and how good of a coach Bill O'Brien has been for them. And maybe it's just because I like Hard Knocks, and then they've been pretty entertaining on there, and it's been very interesting to see how they've all improved. But I think you will be surprised by the Houston Texans defense this year, especially with the addition of Vince Wilfork, and how could we ever forget J.J. Watt? And they got Clowney back too. No way. The Texans, I think, will kick ass. It'll definitely be a tightly contested game, but Texans are gonna win. That's my pick. All right, on to the circuses of Cleveland and the New York Jets. I'm a Jets fan, I'm a Jets fan, I'm a Bills fan, I'm a Giants fan. I'm all New York for the most part, but I know the pain of being a Jets fan though, because they are quite the circus. There's a lot of hope coming into this year about Geno Smith and this defense. It's amazing, and then Geno Smith got his fucking jaw broken by a fucking linebacker who Rex Ryan picked up in Buffalo, which was one of the funniest stories of the offseason. The whole thing it's just funny to me. It's really it would be the New York Jets that would have that luck with the quarterback. The thing is that we have Ryan Fitzpatrick now out there, and he did better statistically wise last year than Geno Smith did, but Geno Smith improved a lot. So I think Ryan Fitzpatrick will be okay filler for now for the Jets, and then from there we'll see what happens. We'll see how We'll hopefully see Geno Smith this month or next, possibly next month. But you look at the weapons the Jets have. They got Brandon Marshall. They got Eric Decker. Oh, excuse me. You got Chris Ivory at running back, who's great. And then I even have hope of Zach Stacy as well. He's really good. You have a pretty decent offensive line. Nick Mangold, I think he's really good. That defense, though, that front seven is going to be insane. With Leonard Williams and Muhammad Wilkerson. We'll probably never see Sheldon Richardson again, but I'd be okay with that. And then you look at the secondary, you got Revis, you got Cromartie. But then you look over the Browns, and their O-line is much better. They got Danny Shelton now for their defense, and that's going to be scary. They have Joe Hayden at the cornerback, but then they have Josh McCown at quarterback, and that kind of brings me back to the fact that this Browns team is not going to do well, at least not out of the gate. So I say the Jets are going to win it. Maybe it's my inner Jets fan that's speaking, but I think the Jets will beat the Browns just because of the fact that it's pretty equal on defenses. But the real question will be if train going by loud. The real question will be if the offense plays, and though the offensive line is great for the Browns, the running back situation, the wide receiver situation, and the quarterback situation is much better in New York right now, and that's just how I see it. Alright, on to the Colts at the Bills, and this one is a tough one to predict because you got a great offense against a great defense, and even the offense, though, for the Colts is a little question mark with that offensive line. It's not amazing. The offensive line for the Colts, it's not amazing. And with a defense like the Bills, they're going to have a lot of issues. You have a great quarterback. First of all, the Colts have a great quarterback, and you have Andre Johnson, you got T.Y. Hilton. You got Frank Gore at the running back position, which he should do well. And you got a pretty good defense-ish. Like they have Robert Mathis, who's an insane linebacker, and then they have Vontae Davis. But then you look over at that Bills defense, and you cannot deny that front seven. I mean, of course, we lose Marcel Darius, but Jerry Hughes, Mario Williams, Kyle Williams, that secondary has improved a little bit with Ronald Darby and Stephen Gilmore. And that offense with LaShawn McCoy and Charles Clay, Sammy Watkins, I think, is going to have a good year. And then look at the quarterback, Tyrod Taylor. He has never started an NFL game, and then you can say that, this could be a repeat of the Luck versus Taylor Orange Bowl, and it's see a game that is 43 or 8 or whatever the fucking score was, and you could see the Luck end up kicking Tyrod Taylor's ass, which he probably could. But just because of all the offense around Tyrod Taylor and how well he has shown that he can be as an athlete, and the struggles that I feel like the Colts will have offensively, in terms of like the offensive line, I'm going to say that the Bills are going to win this. And again, I know I am a Bills fan, but I have a little bit of a difficult time choosing the Colts, where I think they're gonna have a slow start with their offense. But that's just how I see it. Don't worry, Colts fans, I will keep making it up to you. Alright, the Miami Dolphins and the Washington Redskins. Oh god, the Redskins, again, another circus. They're so bad right now. It really sucks. And right now they're starting Kirk Cousins, and he's okay. He's pretty good. People say he's going to be a top 10 quarterback, which, I don't know, I'll root for him, but I just don't really think that he's the answer for them. And Alfred Morris is going to be that offensive star for that team, because he's going to really need to take a lot of carries just in case the quarterback situation doesn't really work out and they don't trust the quarterback throwing. So, you look at wide receiver Deshaun Jackson, obviously one of the best. So I don't have any doubts in the weapons, but the quarterback issues are, and the offensive line's actually pretty decent too. But there are some questions. Defensively, the Redskins are good. But then you look at the Dolphins and what they have done to get so. They have Wake, they have Grimes, and they have this great. That Dolphins defense is insane. And then you look at the offense. Tannehill is going to improve. They got running back Lamar Miller. They got some good wide receivers, Jarvis Landry, possibly Devontae Parker. I think that the Dolphins will kick ass. I think the Dolphins will really kick ass. And this is, oh, by the way, this is one of two Super Bowl this is only one Super Bowl matchup for this week, and then there's going to be many Super Bowl matchups this season. So that was one, and the Dolphins ended up winning against them. I think the Redskins won. I think with the Super Bowl rematch, this is two Super Bowl. This is a rematch that was from two different Super Bowls, and I think the Dolphins won the first one, and the Redskins won the second one, or something like that. I don't know, but the Miami Dolphins will win this one, hands down. Moving on to the Panthers against the Jaguars, and you can't help but feel bad for the Panthers with losing Kelvin Benjamin. But the thing is that Cam Newton has Greg Olsen, and that's a big deal. He still has one of his main weapons there. And the offensive line is not that great, and so I can see the Jaguars defense, who slightly improved this offseason, definitely go after the Panthers. And I can see the Panthers defense also tearing into the Jaguars offense. I think just because the Panthers offense is a little bit more well established over the Jaguars, I'm going to say that the Panthers are going to win that one. But I expect a decent year out of the Jaguars, though. Don't be surprised. Like I don't see them getting a winning record, but I think they've improved a little bit. I think they'll do a little bit better than 3-13. All right. Moving on to Seahawks at Rams. Last time that the Seahawks were at the Rams killed them in a special teams blowout, and it was, no, I shouldn't say a blowout. It was a pretty, I guess, close game, but it was fun to watch, that's for sure. It was very interesting to see. The Rams special teams are, I think, one of the best in the league. But let's face facts, the Seahawks defense is still scary. And them going after the Rams, that Rams offense, it's going to be a bloodbath for the Rams. The Rams defense is great, but you just have to weigh the fact that the Seahawks offense is much better than the Rams offense at the moment. So, Seahawks, easy one. Saints against the Cardinals, and I hate to say this to Saints fans, but you're not in for a good year. When I did my predictions, my playoff predictions, the Saints ended up 2-14. They are the worst in the league. And yes, you got Drew Brees. Yes, you got Mark Ingram. Yes, you got Brandon Cooks. But who else? You don't have a lot of defensive players except for maybe Brandon Browner. And then the offense has a lot of issues. Offensive lines has a lot of issues. I don't think the Saints are going to improve. I don't think they're going to win a division. They don't look good. And it's for that reason I picked the Cardinals. Cardinals, better offensively, better defensively. Just a really great team. I'm really rooting for the Cardinals to go far this season. Alright, on to the Lions against the Chargers. Quarterbacks, I guess you could say, are pretty close together. Running backs, right now, Amir Abdullah is kicking Melvin Gordon's ass, and you look at where they were picked this year. Yeah, that's surprising. I like it though. I like Amir Abdullah. He's gonna be a lot of fun. I think Melvin Gordon will start out slow, but I think he will pick it up. I think he will do just as well, hopefully. I was trying to figure this one out. This was a tough one, but I think I brought it all the way down to defense, and I chose the Lions over the Chargers in this case scenario, because just the Lions have such a more well-established defense than the Chargers do. Alright, on to my favorite matchup of Week 1, I think. And I know that's very odd to say, but I really like this whole top 2 quarterbacks drafted. The top 2 draft picks in the 2015 draft end up facing up against each other in the first week of the season. I think that's awesome. I think that's really fun. And Jameis Winston against Marcus Mariota. You look at Marcus Mariota. I was talking about this with my friend Chris before, but Mariota, he looks awesome. He looks very comfortable. But the problem with him is that he does not have the weapons around him. The exact opposite for Winston. He has all these weapons around him, but he's struggling. He throws picks a lot, and it's scary. So I think both quarterbacks will do very well for their teams in the future as well, and I think that they will definitely improve these teams from 2-14 this year. And I gotta say, right now, I feel like the more established team is the Buccaneers, because the Titans have so many questions on defense, questions on running back, questions on wide receiver, where the Buccaneers have established themselves a little bit more. Doug Martin, running back, Vincent Jackson, Mike Evans, wide receiver, Gerald McCoy, George Johnson, Levante David, defense. Yeah, so I don't know about the secondary. Oh, they just signed Tim Jennings. So he could do well for them as well. Buccaneers, I think you win that one easy. On to Bengals and the Raiders. I know this is taking a while to go through, but I like it. I like talking about all of them. Alright, so you look at the Bengals, and their offense very much improved. Their defense improved. The Bengals got better this offseason. I think they really did. But I gotta admit, again, when I did the playoff predictions, I gave them a losing record. And I didn't know why. How that ended it up, but I think it's because of the tough matchups that they have, and also the fact that you can't really trust Andy Dalton at times. People are really putting his trust in. It's the same. It's the same shit. It's the same shit as when people are like, with fucking Jay Cutler. That's what I was trying to find his name again. Jay Cutler. People are like, oh no, Jay Cutler's gonna have a great year. No, he's gonna have a great year, and then he goes 5-11. Andy Dalton, yes, he has a great regular season, but he can't show in the postseason. I think he's gonna start showing his postseason form this year. I know preseason doesn't matter, but that one game that they had, I think it was, I'm gonna have to remember who they faced, but it was against the Buccaneers. They were bad. It was not good for Dalton. They did not look good at all, and that's the scary part. So I feel like that their offensive line and their quarterback has a lot of issues. So that's just something to keep in mind. You look at the Raiders, and their defense has improved, and their offense is young, but I think will improve over time. I think the Raiders are in for a good, maybe not this year, but are in for a treat going forward. I think they can do a lot of damage in this league with just a few more additions here and there. But for now, I'm going to say Raiders start out slow and lose to the Bengals. On to Ravens and Broncos. This was a rematch from a few years ago when the Ravens faced the Broncos in the season opener. I believe. Yes, that is correct, I think. The Ravens against the Broncos, they have quite a rivalry going on for them, and obviously the quarterback's better for Broncos. The running back's better, I think, for the Ravens, and the wide receivers are better right now for the Broncos. I think overall, offensively, I think the Broncos are better, but that defense for the Ravens, though, is insane. And I think Peyton Manning is going to struggle early for his offense. So I'm going to say right now that the Ravens will win that matchup. Alright, on to prime time! New York Giants going up against the Dallas Cowboys in Sunday Night Football. The New York Giants, wow, this offseason, they did not really change a lot. They did not. They got Victor Cruz back, but I don't know if he'll be ready for this matchup. their running back situation improved slightly, but I think they're still going to stick with Jennings, who if anyone watched my Madden series, love Jennings. He's my man. Everyone's saying how Eli Manning is going to improve offensively, and I will give people credit on that. I'll say, sure, all right, he may improve on offense, but there's a lot of questions there. I still feel, especially with the loss of Will Beatty. And you look at defense, and there's even more questions. How is that secondary going to look? Where the fuck is JPP? Like, I don't know. It's gonna be a rough. It's going to be a rough start, at least, for the Giants. And I think that they may pick up later. But for now, I'm picking them. Picking them boys, the Cowboys, to win that matchup. Alright, on to Monday Night Football. We are at the the Eagles are at Atlanta to go up against the Falcons. The Falcons, their defense is not great at all. But with Dan Quinn, they could improve a little bit. Offensively, they're still pretty good, but their running back situations, this is an easy one for me. It has to be the Eagles. If Sam Bradford stays, Sam Bradford would be healthy for this one. I mean, there is no doubt in my mind that Sam Bradford should be here for this game, unless somehow he gets out of bed and then tears his ACL. So, I don't know how horrible that could happen. Imagine, like, between making these predictions and now he ends up hurting himself and he's out for the season. That will suck a lot. But Sam Bradford, I think, is going to be a really good quarterback, and I think a lot of people are underestimating him. But a lot of people are also hyped about him, which is pretty good. You look at running backs, and it's that fucking three-headed monster of Murray, Matthews, and Sproles. No doubt about it. They're probably the best running back unit in the league. Wide receivers, they're young. These Jordan Matthews and Nelson Aguilar, they're young. I think they're going to do a lot of work for the Eagles. Zach Ertz as well for a tight end. And defensively, their secondary improved, their front seven improved. No doubt about it, the Eagles win this matchup, and they're going to do well this year. I will tell you that now. The Vikings, and then this is the last matchup for the week one. This is the Vikings against the 49ers, and the 49ers had probably one of the worst off seasons in the NFL history. And it was they lost a whole mess of players, Pro Bowl players. A lot of them are getting in trouble and going to jail now, and it's bad. It is really bad, and I can't help but feel a little bad for them. But I'll say this right now, that the Vikings are in for a great year. This is an easy one. The Vikings win. Teddy Bridgewater, great. AP, great. The wide receiver position got a little bit better for the Vikings, as well as tight end is working out as well. Offensive line is looking good. Their defense is looking good. Anthony Barr is going to be awesome to watch. Like, there's a lot to like about the Vikings going into this season, and I will talk about that a little bit later. But Vikings win by a landslide. All right. So before I flip to the next slide, I should warn that this is the playoff predictions. This is the playoff picture. I did not form this the way. This was not planned at all. Like, I did not expect to come up with this result once I punched in all my wins and losses that I felt like teams were gonna have. After I added everything up, I was just like, what the fuck? But here goes nothing. Here's the playoff picture. So on the right, or on the left, first of all, is the NFC picture. At the first seed is the Eagles, followed by the Packers, then the Seahawks, and then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. God damn it. The Eagles, if Sam Bradford stays healthy, that's actually realistic. The Packers is realistic, and the Seahawks are realistic. Those are all 13-3 teams, by the way. I'll fill you guys in on what the records are. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the fourth seed is an 8-8 team. The Panthers failed, though. The Saints failed. The Falcons failed. So maybe that makes a little bit more sense for anyone. But yes, Jameis Winston is going to make the playoffs in this scenario. The Cardinals take the wild card position again, and so do the Lions. And the Vikings just missed it with a 10-6 record. But the fact that the Cardinals got 13-3, the Lions got 11-5, just how everything worked out. All right. And now you look over at that right, and I cannot believe that the Bills are number 1. That is ridiculous. That is dumb. I don't know where the fuck I'm getting that from, but who knows? I'm going with it, I guess. The Buffalo Bills got number 1 in the whole conference, followed by the Baltimore Ravens, the Indianapolis Colts, and then the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos, I have to remember what their record was. I think that they were either 8-8 or 9-7, or something like that. But that division was rough. And then 2 AFC East teams make the wild card. The Miami Dolphins at 12-4, and then the New England Patriots at 11-5. I say the New England Patriots. Again, there's some iffiness for the Patriots, and I think that's why that I ended up putting them there. And I think that iffiness comes from their defense. So that's how I see it. But it's really insane. Alright, so let's talk about each matchup, and I'll narrow it down as we get there. So, how did these playoffs play out? This is what we're gonna get at. So, the Lions against the Seahawks we'll start out with, and I say that the Seahawks will beat the Lions. The Buccaneers will face off against the Cardinals, and I say the Bucs lose to them as well. So then the Cardinals will face the Eagles, and the Seahawks will face the Buccaneers, and at which the Packers will get some revenge on the Seahawks, and then the Cardinals will shock the Eagles and end up making it to the NFC Championship. So I'm gonna move on now to the AFC East. So here we got the Patriots going up against the Colts, and again, this is going to be a shock, but I'm going to say that the Colts end up beating the Patriots in a surprising matchup. One of the few times that Andrew Luck is going to beat Tom Brady is going to be in the playoffs right now. And then we have the Miami Dolphins against the Broncos. And the Dolphins, although they are looking amazing, the Broncos end up shocking them, and the Broncos get taken out. Then it's the Broncos against the Bills, and then the Broncos surprise the Bills as well, and the Bills get taken out. The Colts and the Ravens face off against each other, and even though the Colts offense can struggle at times, they end up, with Andrew Luck at the helm, of course, kicking the Ravens' patootie. And that is your NFC and AFC luck preview, essentially. And the winners of each of those are the Indianapolis Colts and the Green Bay Packers. So the Green Bay Packers ended with a 13-3 record, and the Colts ended with, I think, was an 11-5 record. So, as tradition goes, Luck, he made it to the wild card round, and then in his rookie year, I think, and then he made it to and he won the wild card game, and then lost in the divisional. He won the wild card, and he won the divisional, and then lost the AFC Championship last year. So now they won the wild card, they won the divisional round, they won the championship, and now they're at the Super Bowl, and then the Packers end up defeating them. Just in tradition ways. So I say the Packers are actually going to end up winning the entire Super Bowl, and end up actually taking home the Lombardi Trophy, which is named after Vince Lombardi, who was a former Packers coach. They end up taking it home to Wisconsin, and everyone's happy, right? Again, these predictions were insane, but I think the Packers at winning the Super Bowl is not too far-fetched at all. Packers win even without Jordy Nelson. Alright, time to get into the last the last segment, in which that is bold predictions. And one involves what I actually had in my playoff prediction but 2 others that didn't end up working out the same. My first bold prediction will be that there will be 3 AFC East teams that will make the playoffs. Who will it be? Who knows? But I think there will be 3. They just look back to 2013, where 3 AFC West teams won, and then 2014 or made to the playoffs rather, and then 2014 3 AFC North teams ended up making it to the playoffs. So then you have the AFC East teams that do the same. So again, I don't know which 3 end up there, but who knows. So anyways, that's my bold prediction number 1. Bold prediction number 2 is that the Vikings will win the division. Yes, they will not only make the playoffs, but they will win their division against the Packers, the Lions, and Bears. That's surprising, I know, and it might be a little bit of a stretch, but it's a bold prediction, that's why. And last but not least, Bears fans, I'm sorry to say this, but it's unfortunate for me to announce that you will lose. My bold prediction is that you will be the worst team, and you'll at least get the first pick in the 2016 draft. So the Bears will do the worst out of all of them. So, anyways, so those are my 3 bold predictions. But that's it for this long 41-minute episode, and these prediction videos are going to be long as usual. But again, this is all for fun. I'm no genius, especially if we look at those playoff predictions. But I would, if anyone comes across this video and wants to give your opinion, please let me know. I love talking about football. I love hearing from everyone's point of views. One thing I won't stand for is cocky fans. If you're just gonna say that your team is the best because whatever, like you're just gonna be up in everyone's face, just being like, yeah, everyone else sucks and my team's the best. Like, no, I'm not gonna deal with you. But if you're gonna talk intelligent football with me, I will gladly accept. I would love to do so. So please comment below and give me your opinion about what you think will happen in the 2015 season. It all starts tomorrow, September 10th, and I'm very excited for it. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week for week 2. Bye-bye.